So we're very excited to host this event. It is called Elements of Style. So you want to be a battle DJ. For those of you who've been supporting our programs in the past, you know that the first Elements of Style program we had was with Torre, who came, my buddy, who works over at SiriusXM and has since gone on to do even bigger things. And so then last February, we had the comic book graphic novel artists here and game developer artists. We were over in the Ellipse. And so now this is the third installment of Elements of Style. And we're very excited to have both DJ Boogie Blind and DJ Esquire here. So please, round of applause. The main purpose of this program is to talk about DJ culture. Students that are in my African American Lit class, we were just talking about Dyson's The Culture of Hip Hop, right? And what does it mean to be hip hop? What does it mean to be a part of hip hop culture? How do you define hip hop culture? What are the parameters for it? Who controls the definition, right? And we got into a little lively debate, particularly over the T-shirt, I am hip hop, and who gets to wear it, and does it mean what it's supposed to mean? And for people who are aware of hip hop as a culture, the one thing you know is that the DJ is one of the elements. And so I worked very tirelessly to get these two very busy people here at the same time, because their schedules are very busy. I believe Boogie Blind just got back 2 days ago from touring in Europe, and then we had to reschedule because somebody else was touring last semester, and you know they have to eat. So I'm glad that they were able to get the planets in alignment and come today just to share some of their talent and their wisdom and their experience with you. With that, I wanted to give you a little bit of background information. Now, I'm going to start with my right, I guess, yeah, Western culture. Start on the right. With Esquire. I'm not going to talk governments, right? Now, let me see. We met, oh my gosh, has it been like 8 years? Like 8 years, right? Yeah, kind of cool guy. Esquire has been battling for over 15? You've been DJing?
DJing 20.
You've been DJing for about 20. When did you start battling?
99.
Okay, all right. So,
15.
Yeah.
Roughly 15.
I can do a little bit of math. I'm an English major, but I can do a little bit of math. So it's been about 15 years that you've been on the battle circuit. Esquire is the 2013 DMC USA champ.
Woo!
And you are the 2012 DMC USA Battle for Supremacy champ. Now, the one thing is with DMC, apparently there are a few different titles you can have.
Yes.
Right. So you are the national champ for 2012 and for 2013, but for two different types, right? Two different categories. And then you also participated in the world finals, right? And you placed really well, I thought. Right? Top five. You top five in the world. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. After watching the Olympics, you appreciate the bronze medal a lot, right? You also spin on Beat Miners Radio, and you spin, I can't remember the other, Vision Radio, right? VY. Yeah, Vision Radio. And is that online? That's online. That is online. Is it on iTunes also?
No.
But your podcast is on. Yeah. So you have the podcast, and they could just go to DJ Esquire for the podcast. So if you are one of the Apple conglomerate with iTunes, you can get his podcast on iTunes, and you have some stuff on SoundCloud.
Yes.
And your SoundCloud is also DJ Esquire. NYC, right. There's apparently an imposter Esquire.
There's a few.
There are a few. But nothing to do with your legal status as Esquire. We're going to talk about that in a minute. DJ Boogie Blind, to my left, has been, let me see. My gosh, we met in high school.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. I think I was 16 and you were 17. It was a rainy afternoon.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
I was 6. Yeah.
I was 16, I was 17.
Yeah,
I was really good at basketball, and, you know.
We're going to stop right there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 16 and 17, my gosh. 21.
Stop blushing.
21 years. Has it been 21 years?
It has been 21 years.
21 years. I'm sick of you. Okay, so he knew me when, and I knew him when his jump shot was like
A
really.
little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think he got old man names now. But he still got game. He's got new game now. So he redefined himself DJing, and you started that, I want to say when you were in college.
Yes.
About, right?
Yes. No.
Like you started playing around with the turntables.
Thank you, Rika. No, I seriously been DJing all my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was always in my, growing up, it was in my household. So I would honestly say I've been DJing all my life.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't really say I took it seriously all my life,
Right.
but I've been DJing all my life. You know, instead of playing with Atari, I wanted to be like, so there was no Miss Pac-Man and Contra and no up, left, down, right. It was just left to right.
When did the switch happen between, because you used to do like parties, house parties, and that kind of stuff, but then when you became, I think that was around the time Rita brought you on.
When I was in college, I was doing a lot of parties. When I was in high school, I was doing a lot of parties. When I was in junior high school, I was doing a lot of parties. When I was in elementary school, I was doing a lot of parties.
Wow.
So parties has always been a part of my thing. Like the battle aspect came around like 97, 98 was when I really was like, yo, I think I can do this. I can do this. Like, I know I can do this. So I would say 97.
97. And what compelled you to battle?
You know, Rita lived on the 7th floor. I lived on the 8th floor.
Rest in peace to Rock Rita.
And
execution.
I saw them making money. I was like, yo, I can do this too. Like, you know, I was in college, it didn't work out, you know, injuries, had to leave school, things of that nature. And seriously, Rock Rita was the person that made me believe that I could really do this. You know, I always had, you know, the uppity parents, you gotta get a job, you're wasting your time, when you're gonna get a real job, get a real job, get a real job, get a real job. And
finish school.
Yeah, finish school, get a job. And it didn't work out for me. I'm happy to say that it didn't work out for me. I mean, Rita didn't go past the 8th grade, so you go figure.
Wow.
So, you know, with that being said.
And you are you officially retired? I mean, you were a world champion of the Sox, 2001.
Yeah, I did. But
are you officially retired?
I retired from battling. Yeah, I'll never battle again. That's never gonna happen.
No? Okay.
Never. No.
So you announced your retirement right after you won the world championship?
No, I announced my retirement after I got jerked at this battle by some guy that didn't have a chance, and I guess his friends were on the judging panel, and then I went home that night and I was like, I'm coming up with a new routine, I hate everybody. And Rita came to my crib, was like, yo, you want to sit in your house for 7 hours and try to make a new routine, or you want to come make some money? And that was like the choice.
People in the back, if you want to have a seat, by all means, there are some seats and there are some extra chairs around. I'll be right back in a minute.
Yeah, so it was kind of a cross between, do you want to go or do you want to practice for another 7 hours and be antisocial?
More antisocial than you
Not
were,
antisocial.
right? I knew.
Exactly. But actually, Esquire was one of my battling nemesis at that time, and this is why.
Yeah, I never liked this guy.
Yeah, we never liked each other, but after every battle, we have a beer, we'll go talk. I introduced his girlfriend, I had my girlfriend, we were friends, but on the stage, it was like, man, F you and F your mom, and F your cousin, F all the Fs. Yeah.
F your nipples.
Yeah, I still have that on
You still have it on tape
Are you
somewhere.
serious? Really?
Yeah, I made up a routine, like talking about, I had a routine, a general routine talking about dimples. And I was looking around for DJs in the room that had dimples, and he was the only one. And it just so happened I had to go up against him. So I used the line against him, and he looked, he was like, he's trying to hide his dimples, trying to hide his face, so nobody would see it.
That might have been the best diss against me in battle history. In me battling, I took that one personally. I got on the instant, what was that? The technicians turntable. I hate Esquire. But we had 5 beers after that, though, so I really didn't hate him. It was just he was more creative than I was at the time, and I wasn't really feeling that. You know?
Now, you also, with touring, you work with Elvira.
I work with a lot of people, and I've done a lot of tours, so I don't want to sit up here and take up all you guys' time.
But right now, you just got back.
Right now, I was touring with Front March. I've been doing my own DJ tours, which has been great. Also, I work with Elvira when she doesn't have the band. Also, I work with Busta Rhymes. I've worked with Fat Joe. I've worked with Lord Finesse, Digging in the Crates. I've worked with Azamonte for a little while. I've been all over the place.
Passport's got plenty of stamps.
Yeah.
Extra pages.
Yeah.
Right. And you too, right?
I'm proud of this guy.
I just got a new passport.
You just got, I'm waiting for
Had
mine.
to.
I'm really proud of this guy. Like, seriously, like, this is no ham and cheese talk right here. This guy worked really hard to get where he's at, and I'm happy to see him doing some of the things that I do, and hopefully he can take it to another level. You know, there's a couple of people there's a handful of people that I actually am still inspired by and still not only communicate with, but try to just continue to do business with in the future. He's definitely one of those guys, you know?
Now, in terms of the connections, because you said that there are people that you are inspired by, right? And you're also part of a crew. I mean, you've got a few crews. You're down with DITC. You are one of the executioners, right? So anyone who's an executioner.
And then there's I mean, a lot of people know me for being with Raider,
right?
But when I'm talking about my peer group like Esquire, you know, and so forth, there were a group of kids that actually recruited me into their circle, and their names are Precision, Confucius, and Tragic. And at the time, during the whole battle, I hate parties, I hate everybody. I didn't know how to set up my needles the right way. I didn't know how to calibrate the turntables the right way. I didn't know how to mark my records the right way. I just knew how to get up there and do something. And those guys kind of like molded me, like, as far as battle-wise. Like, I got more aware, you know, and that's not easy. But, you know, that's another reason why I'm proud of Esquire, because Esquire don't got a crew of people that's like, yo, you should do this. Nah, man, you should do that. Man, maybe you should do this intro like this. You know, so when I see him, I know it's all him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, I'm going to always give props for that because, you know, I stopped battling almost 10 years ago. And he continued, and he's flourishing and prospering and seeing the fruits of that labor right now. So, you know, I think everybody should give a round of applause for DJ Esquire.
So emotional.
I'm serious though, man, because we seen a lot of people come and go.
Yeah, still seeing them coming and going. Ooh, yeah.
Now, how is it that you've managed to be the lone wolf? And, you know, do you get feedback from people? Do you have...
I don't know. I think it's the only child syndrome. Since I'm an only child.
That's right. Yeah, you're only child. So are you. Yeah. 2 only children.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So I don't know. I mean, I've always taken influence from everything I've seen. So I go to the battles from like the early days, and I watch Raider. Like I watched them on the VHS tapes. For any of you who don't know what a VHS tape is, look it up. Just watching people on videos, and then actually going to shows and seeing people. And I always just was a student of the art of DJing. So I just took in everything I saw, took it back home, and just tried to do it. You know, I didn't really, it's not that I never wanted to be in a crew, I just never really looked for that. I was always, you know, on my own. I'm a solo kind of dude, so.
Then how do you get feedback to say, you know, how does this sound? How does this look? Is there anybody you ask or trust?
Yeah, I ask myself. I look in the mirror and say, hey, how's that sound? I'm like, oh, that sounds good. All right, cool. No, I mean, I used to show routines to a few people, like that was in the DJ circle, but a lot of those people I would end up having to go against, so it's kind of hard to get feedback from somebody that you might eventually have to go on stage against. So I always had to keep it to myself. And just watching people, you kind of see what it takes to win, and you just try to shape yourself in that kind of mind frame and try to put it to the tables.
Now, to piggyback on that question, this issue of who do you trust? Okay, people in the back, there are seats up front, and then there's some extra chairs on the side, so you can get comfortable. I don't know if people having them feel like they have to stand
Come on,
for
man,
themselves.
feel free.
Come on
Plenty
down.
of room in the front.
Yeah, there's plenty of room. And then there are some chairs over here on the side. Thank you for coming. So, who do you trust becomes one of the issues. Because you don't want people to borrow, steal, bite, any of the things that, as we were talking about with hip hop culture, in my class, the 11 a.m. class, biting is, sacrilege. So, you have to be unique, and there's the issue of, can you trust people, around you to see some of your innovation and not use it?
Well, back then it was a little bit more secretive. Now, with all the technology and the internet and, Vimeo and all kind of stuff, you kind of putting yourself out there. You gotta be secretive nowadays, especially if you're entering a battle because everybody's watching.
So it's like a secret recipe, like the Coca-Cola formula.
Yeah, you gotta. At first you gotta keep it to yourself. I'm speaking from experience from back then. Like we didn't have the luxury of a computer.
Right.
So we would have to go out and buy 5 copies of the same record because after you do the routine 8 times, the record is ashy. You got to have a fresh copy for the battle. Then you got to have a copy just in case the needle, is broke. It was just so much complicated back then than it is now. But now it's just, it seems like everybody's emulating a little bit of everyone because it's out there. Before you couldn't see Esquire's routine unless he showed it to you. Now somebody might be secretly recording with their phone, and next thing you know, it's on YouTube, and he ain't even know it.
Very true.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I think that's part. I think it's like just to piggyback. It's more secretive now. Like it's really like I will only show a handful of people anything, if anything at all. Actually, honestly, sometimes I don't let anybody see anything until the battle, just because I don't want it out there. Never know what anybody might do. Because everybody has a uniqueness to them, but everybody's influenced off of somebody. So I don't want to take an idea that I'm still developing and then have somebody else see it and then flip it harder than I might think about flipping it. Like, kind of kills my whole vibe. So I have to keep it to myself a little bit more.
Can we talk a bit about the creative process and how you come up with some of the innovations that you're both known for? Sorry.
It all starts with the basics. For me, like nowadays you probably can skip phase 3 or 4, but if you don't have 3 or 4 in your repertoire, you only got 5, and then everybody can pick apart what you can't do.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of like it's really strategic. But I always say you got to have the basic fundamentals of mixing in your repertoire, or you're not even going to be able to get to a level of battling. It's not going to work for you.
Can you speak a little bit more in detail about the fundamentals?
The fundamentals.
For the non-DJ.
Fundamentals is basically, you still use certain principles. Like, for instance, the record here, I have like 2 marks on it, and one is like 12 o'clock and one is 3 o'clock. And wherever I want to manipulate, whether it's a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, someone's voice, a sound effect, a child screaming, I can pinpoint where it's going to be, how many times I spin it back, or how many times I move it forward. That was pretty much the old days. Now you could just set a cue point, boom, you're right there. You didn't have that luxury, so just countless times of marking records, and before, you had to put a piece of tape on a record to get to a certain part of the record. Now you can just skip. You can use 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you can just go straight to the.
And that's Serato that you're referring to.
This is Serato or Tractor.
Or Tractor.
But this is definitely a basic principle. You got to have marks on your record. You're just not going to do some intricate beat juggle with no record marks. That's not going to happen.
And the executioners, I believe, if I was misinformed from what I recall, they were known for juggling, correct? That's kind of the juggling.
Yeah.
But then it transcended that and extended to other things.
The East Coast, as far as DJ battles are concerned, the East Coast is known for beat juggling, and more so the West Coast is known for intricate scratching. I'm not saying that they didn't have any beat jugglers throughout the years, but we were more so trying to manipulate a record to make it sound like something else.
Right. And that's going to be what you demonstrate for us.
Yeah.
And then I noticed that your 20, I think it was in your 2013, we did a lot more kind of technical nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the technical nerdy stuff? Because it sounded like you were playing with the EQ or the frequency and stuff. I don't know. I don't know the language. I don't know the lingo.
I mean, basically, because the technology is here, I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. Before it was just, mixers were very simple. It was just a crossfader, your volume channels, and then some equalizers. But now, I mean, just with this machine here, y'all seen it upside down, but it looks like a spaceship right here with all of the buttons and the colors and stuff. And nowadays, you can change frequency, you can add effects, echoes. I mean, there's so many different things that you can manipulate with the sound. So now that this system is here and it's allowed in the battles, I'm going to use it.
What do you mean allowed? Like it wasn't always allowed?
No, this particular mixer was just allowed last year. So this mixer is about close to 2 years old, but it was just allowed into the battle. Yes, it's very expensive.
It's very expensive. I think the last price I saw was something like $3,500, $3,200. $2,500? Oh, see, somebody inflated their prices.
$3,000 with the warranty.
With the one there you go.
Yeah, $3,000. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of features on here. So because it exists, I'm gonna take advantage of it. I'm also from the mind frame of, you need to have your basics down packed. Like if I didn't have a good set of basics, I wouldn't be able to manipulate it the way I could. For me, when I'm thinking of being creative, for me I think about the listener, and I'm more of a consumer as opposed to just somebody doing something. Like I want to be able to turn around and not even look at what's going on and be able to listen and hear and be enjoy it as music. So for me, I always think about the musicality first, and then I think about the technical aspect.
Now, the technical aspects, there's the cue points, right? That's one of the things.
Yes.
But then also, I know with the judging, sometimes it's about the cleanness of the transition. I mean, there are a few criteria with the judging of how well your set is.
I'm not going to touch that.
Yeah, I'm not
going to touch that.
I'll touch
Oh,
it. I'll touch
okay.
it. I'll touch it. I mean, it's all subjective when it all comes down to it.
So it's not like the Olympics where you say you have to do this, you have to do that.
I mean, there is certain criteria, but it is very subjective to what one person thinks. So, I mean, it really comes down to who's judging. Because you have, just for instance, the 2013 US, you had DJs from all different realms of the DJ world judging, and it gave a really vast different viewpoint. So you had DJs who were champions in the 80s judging along with people who were champions in the 2000s, judging with people who never won a battle but are very established in the DJ culture, judging with people who do parties and don't do battles at all. Then you have people who write about it and have never battled but have been documenting it for years. So you have a lot of different people and a lot of different opinions. So it really, it's hard to say who likes what. I mean, but you take your basic principles, overall composition of the routines, and they're judging on it. But coming from one realm to another, you're gonna have, some old school people listening for one thing, while the newer people are listening for another. So you might have judges who are thinking more musical, while other judges are thinking more technical. So for me, I have to find a balance to appease everybody.
But are there guidelines saying that you have to juggle, or you have to demonstrate certain techniques?
No, you don't have to do one set. You don't have to do everything. You can do just one thing. But if you're the best overall, it's overall composition is what it all comes down to.
I see.
So you can juggle, you can scratch, you can do mixing, you can do everything, or you can just take a couple of components. It really just comes down to the overall composition.
So with the EQ frequency tinkering that you do, can you give us we've got 10 minutes for you to demonstrate and explain please.
All right.
I certainly can't explain.
So, I mean, just for one of the, I'll just explain like one of the routines. I'm a big 80s guy, so like I love the 80s. I'm a nerd about it. And I love video games. Sorry, Boogie never got the contra code up, down, down, left, right, the stuff. I never got that. So I'm a big video game guy. So one of the routines I'm known for now, I take some sounds from the Mario Brothers video game. And yeah, so I actually take sounds from that video game, put them in the system, and actually loop them. So just kind of repeating the sounds over and over. And then actually using the cue point mechanism and the frequencies, I actually kind of compose my own song too, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, you want to do it?
Yeah. He's gonna show us.
No, which way to go?
Go.
While he's setting up, there are some extra chairs over here. Okay, you have to explain it to us. What did you just do? I just saw you pressing lots of buttons.
Yeah, it kind of looks like I'm just pressing lots of buttons.
I mean, I don't know. If
No,
yeah, please.
basically I have, so the sound effect in full sounds like that. So I just take different parts of that sample and just rig the cue points for them. So I have one in one chamber, another in a second cue point, a third in a third point, and then I just play around with the melody. So then also utilizing the effects, so I can add an echo on top of it, and then I can filter it out. So just kind of taking all of the little bits and pieces on the mixer, I can make it sound all types of different ways.
And how long does it take you to come up with that? Because I never would have.
The initial concept took.
Were you just sleeping one day in your gated community?
Yeah, I was in the gated community.
Yeah, he lives in the gated community.
No, I don't.
You're in the gated
Honestly, the concept took like a day and a half, honestly.
You just woke up one day with the light bulb?
Yeah, I just wanted to do something different. After a while, everybody sounds the same, and nobody was utilizing. And I kind of just wanted to put a little bit of myself into my routine. And like I said, I'm an '80s nerd. I'm a video game nerd. I wanted to add that aspect into my routine. So while doing all of the normal scratching, beat juggling stuff that you had to do, I wanted to add a little more personality into it. So I said, let me find a way to use a video game. And everybody knows Mario Brothers. If you've never played it, you might have seen the cartoon of it or something. So, I wanted to take something that's very familiar. So again, me thinking about the audience, I want to do something that's really familiar. If I take in, I don't know, Castlevania sounds, people might not know what that is. If I take in Gears of War, maybe somebody might have known what that was. But everybody loves Mario. So everybody knows it one way, shape, or form. I think a new Mario game just came out. So it's still present in today's culture, even though it's from the 80s culture. So I wanted to take that and, make it relevant to everybody that's in the audience. Just try to make it a little musical.
And how do you transition between that kind of technique and then getting back to the turning, scratching, spinning stuff? Is there a formula, okay, this is the part where I do this?
Not necessarily. I try to stay away from the formula. I always want to break everybody. Back in the days, it was do an introduction, then do a scratch set, then do a beat juggle, then do another scratch set, then do a beat juggle, and then do an outro. And it was always that formula. And, it gets boring after a while. You figure out what everybody is doing all the way through. So for me to come up with something a little more creative this way and try to fuse it into the scratching and beat juggling that everybody does, it's going to make you stand out. And I think, for me, I didn't personally think I won the competition just because it wasn't.
I remember that. Yeah.
It wasn't the best presentation of my ideas that night. Was for me personally, I thought it was a little janky, but I think what stood out was the creativity behind it. So because if you really step back and look at everybody, there was a certain sound that more than half the competitors all sounded the same. Where
I was trying to get you better than everybody.
Were you judging?
I was
you were judging. I think I was there.
So
he was totally better than everybody there that day.
So it just for me, I just want to be creatively different. I want to break the trends and break the stigma of having to do something and just do whatever makes sense.
Honestly, I think the reason why you won because there were 7 DJs in a row trying to do oh my God, it was just they were using the same EDM records.
Yeah.
I was this is the new thing?
Yeah.
We're gonna just scratch Sweet Nothing and Diplo records tonight?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's a pretty bad stigma in the battle culture. Is take the hottest record that came out that week and then try to do a routine with it because people be like, oh, turn down for what?
I still don't know what that means, by the way. I guess I'm not hip hop because I don't know what turned down.
I don't know. So, and that's just, to me, that's why I've always stayed away from those types of records. I always use records that nobody else will use. I'll go back to my 80s realm or something. I like throwback stuff. I like the new stuff, but I'd rather do something that nobody's doing. Yeah.
And as an innovator, you followed in Raina's footsteps and carried on the torch for the Executioners.
I tried.
The Executioners were the first DJ supergroup to, have an album. There were others.
Actually, the Superman was the first group.
But they didn't have albums and MTV time the way that Executioners did.
Clark Kent definitely did a lot of production. DJ Scratch.
Yeah, they did production, but not as DJs with music videos of them.
The Executioners were the first
Yeah.
DJs with a major record label.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And MTV time.
MTV time,
Yeah.
ESPN time, blah, blah,
Albums,
blah.
yeah, iTunes, you still stuff there, royalties.
That was definitely an intricate part of why we're still relevant now because we both, as individuals, we don't just battle, So you could get caught up in a certain mind frame and you'll just become old and bitter and disgruntled and just a bad person. Yeah, just that.
We're gonna just leave that.
Yeah, leave that one alone.
This is insider.
But I really think what keeps us both motivated is that we have what we call the best of both worlds. Like we can go in the club and DJ with your best club DJ, and at the same time we can scratch and cut and do everything else that the up and coming or someone prior to us can do. So that kind of like gives you an advantage over most people, and you're kind of like a threat. So when you come around, people, when people are like, oh man, I don't do all that scratching stuff, but it's like, yo, dude, I'm coming here to do a club set tonight, man. Why would you even talk to me about that? Why?
Yeah. And there were some, I know that with every family, there may be some disharmony around the dinner table during holidays, but you guys, for the most part, the executioners are still a brotherhood.
For me, I don't really get caught up into, rumors and stuff like that. All I can say is, I was brought into this game by a certain person. He's no longer with us. Everybody went their own different direction, and more power to them. I'm happy with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's all that matters to me. I mean, I do see people online crying and whining, and it's pathetic, honestly, because it's like you wouldn't be talking if the Wi-Fi wasn't free.
Yeah. And what about territorialism among the crew? Is it kind of this person has this thing and this person has this thing and that has this thing, or is it pretty much free?
There's people that were before me,
right,
in that particular crew that have gone on to do a lot of things. A lot of people don't know Fat Man Scoop was a part of the Executioners. A lot of people don't know, Sean C, who's a very prominent force in the music industry, period, whether it's A&R work or production. Like, a lot of people don't know these things. Like, there's so many. Like, we're about to come up with the 20th anniversary shirt shortly with the slip mats, by the way.
Nice.
That's going to be coming out very shortly. Nice. And you're going to basically get a breakdown of everybody that was in the crew, whether you appreciate it or not, or you were a fan or not, or you were a fan and you didn't know, oh, I didn't know so-and-so was down, because it was never like that. You only saw the core people, which was Rob, Raider, and then along came Sinister and Total Eclipse after a while, because everybody else branched off and did different things.
So is it a membership that's closed, or are members still being added, or is it kind of just like, if you're not a member...
Everybody went their own way.
So there's no like, oh, I can be... because kind of like Rocksteady, they do bring people in on occasion.
Right.
But Executioners is kind of a done
right.
deal.
It's not a... Nah. I mean, after Raider passed, everybody kind of like moved on. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the only thing, that was the best thing that could happen in that particular scenario.
So the Executioners, as I said earlier, one of the things that they were known for pioneering was juggling. So I'm hoping that you can give us...
Yeah, I can show a little something.
Yeah, please.
All right, this is basically what I sat and learned in my bedroom years ago, and I still do it to this day. And I'm gonna use the most generic record, and we're gonna go for it.
Is hard as battle anybody. I don't care you. They all gonna
I see smoke rising from the What did you just do? Because I see a lot of people, I was like, what, huh, what did you just do? How did you do that?
Well,
In
basically,
slow motion.
I started out with the scratch intro to get you accustomed to what's going to happen. We used to call that a setup.
Okay.
And then from there, it was just like a basic, we call it a speed pattern, just to like get your adrenaline going. And then from there, it's kind of like the body of the composition, if you will, with the repetitive wordplay. And then I got into what the executioners were pretty much famous for, which was through the legs, around the back, with your mouth, levitation, magic wand.
Upside down.
Nothing but that, something like that.
Blindfolded. Now, with juggling, you have to pretty much be in tune with, it's like a segment of a song, and then you're going to figure out how you're going to change it into something else. So you could take any particular song and juggle it, or are certain songs more juggleable?
I mean, certain juggles are different because you might use words. Certain juggles are different because you might just use kicks and snares. But I think the basic principle is arranging it that it's sequenced and you're not doing everything repetitively. It's just not redundant. It's just like, oh my God, here we go. So I would like to at least do everything in like, I want to switch in every 4 bars. As you see, I didn't do the same thing for more than like 4 bars. So it's like 4 bars of this, 4 bars of that, 4 bars of this, back to the top. Maybe, you could just rearrange it, but you still wanted to have it, like you still want it to be in sequence. You want it to be sequenced. You don't just want to be erratic and all over the place.
Yeah, you almost kind of take it like you're taking pre-produced music and kind of reproducing it on the fly. That's kind of what the act of juggling is. So the whole deal of a setup is just like the introduction of a song when the song starts, and then you have, your verse, then you have your chorus, and then you have your next verse. And we set up actually our juggles that way, where you have a pattern that starts off, that's kind of the heart of the routine. Right. Then you go into maybe something a little faster, or maybe you break it down and make it sound slower, and then you come back to the heart of the routine. So, you think in a producer kind of sense, and almost like how you would make a song. So that's how we kind of come up with that.
So,
sequences is key because if
sequence?
if you don't sequence it, you're just gonna be, you're just doing things. It has to make sense. And now
it has to be clean.
It has to be clean too, but it has to make sense. I mean, you can not be clean and make sense because there's times. Well, I can't say now with the computer, you don't really have an excuse. You don't really have an excuse. I mean, unless your needle is completely dirty or some kind of computer thing that you just have no control over, you should not sound sloppy. Yeah. Especially with the computer. Like, there's no way in part, that's like, it's a prime example. It's like, you can't go to the club and you can at least have 90,000 to 100,000 songs and you play the same 5 records. That just doesn't make any sense.
So then, do you consider, I wouldn't consider juggling to be like your trademark. I know that the EQ thing, that's not your like baby, but that is something that you're known to do. So is that considered a signature thing for you?
Yeah, I'm known to go through the legs, around the back.
Yeah, that stuff.
The
tricks, the body tricks.
Yeah, but then it's like, over the years, it's become more extinct because you don't have to do that. Like, all you gotta do is buy a computer and you're a DJ now. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really have to put in the time. You don't have to put in the effort. You could just claim what you claim to be, but in reality, you can hear the difference. Like, you can hear it. Like, you can just hear when somebody's not good.
So, hopefully.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah, I mean, I've
seen Paris Hilton DJ, and there's no disrespect to her. I love her grind. I love her grind. I love her grind. I'm not mad at her publicist. I'm not mad at anything, but I'm pretty sure that my 9-year-old niece, Asia, can DJ better than her. I can guarantee that.
And then there are different kinds of DJs. They're you know, I mean, Paul Oakenfold has his
Yeah, good ones
babies
and
that-
bad ones.
There's good
And
ones and bad
Tiesto
ones.
has
Yeah,
it.
that's all.
You know, I mean, there are different kinds
Yeah,
of
there's different
DJs.
levels of DJing, but I think certain genres of music, they kind of like frown upon. Like I mean, like don't even get me started, man.
They frown upon.
I mean, they just frown upon what actually the reason why this is actually happening.
Okay.
Like the reason why this is happening is because there was a hardcore like beginning solid foundation. Without that foundation, you don't. I mean, in today's world, you don't need that foundation. All you need is a publicist and sometimes mascara and little cleavage, or a tight shirt and a six pack.
And headphones.
And headphones
That they're not using.
that they're not using. Yes.
So when DJ Premier talks about button pushers, right? Because I know there is a drop in which he talks about DJ motherfucking blind, right? And he's talking about the rest of y'all are button pushers. What does it mean to be a button pusher, actually?
Well,
for the non.
Oh, well, I hope it's not what I do because I don't push.
No, I think he's talking about another kind of
Yeah,
button
no,
pusher.
I mean, during a phase where the DJ battle scene kind of dwindled and a lot of companies lost their sponsorship, and there was one DJ battle where the DJs actually threw, which I thought was an excellent idea, and I think that we should really take that into the future. Like, we should throw our own battles because but there was a time where there were DJs they didn't DJ. They just didn't DJ. They didn't do nothing. They was like, hey, girl in the front row, how you doing? It's not wrong with that. If that's what you're good at doing, that's what you're good at doing. Like, you can't take nothing away from that. I know a lot of DJs that can't DJ that are good socialites or good to have good personality skills or good, whatever. I can go on and on about
So
that.
as a baseline definition.
Oh no, I was gonna say. I guess kind of the aspect of button pushing would be, as opposed to doing something naturally that you can do with your hands on a record, you would use a cue point to actually do it.
Okay.
So, for instance, you'll have a DJ who they'll intro their song with a scratch and drop it in. While other DJs will, instead of actually using their hands and physically moving a record, would just do to actually drop the record in. So they kind of substituted the notion of actually doing something physical with the technology that exists. So I think that's when it's bad, because when you're just using the waves of the MP3 to kind of line up your records as opposed to listening to the music and figuring out what actually goes with another record, that's when it got real muddy. So
And it goes hand in hand, because sometimes we go into these clubs and the turntables don't work.
Right.
And you gotta be a button pusher that day.
yeah.
You got to. Like, the turntable's not working. You only got one turntable. It's like it just throws your whole mode off, but you still gotta do what you gotta do. So if that particular night you pushing buttons, sorry, Premier.
Yeah.
You pushing buttons that night, Primo. Sorry.
I think you may. I think quiet is kept with me. I had to push a button there too.
Always push buttons.
Yeah.
Push buttons. It's a new
But
millennium.
I don't think that's
But
how he
people don't-
acquired DJ status.
No, but this is why I say I can agree with Esquire not being afraid to use the technology. Like, not only turntables, but CDJs or MIDI controllers or, whatever. You still have to be able to know how to get around the technology, because everything's not going to be like it is at home. Every time you walk into a certain scenario, it's not going to be perfect like this where everything works. So you have to be able to adapt to the situations. And sometimes those situations you have to push a button.
And outside of that, I think no matter what technology you have in front of you, you still have to have a knowledge of music. Like, if
Definitely.
you don't know your music, it doesn't matter what's in front of you. If you don't know what to play,
You're going to hit, it's going to sound.
it's going to sound bad no
sound
matter
bad.
what you're using. So a lot of people lose that because, you know, it's so easy to just grab somebody's hard drive and download it and just get the same music. But that doesn't mean they're gonna know what to do with that music.
And then there's the theory of by 1 o'clock you really don't care what's happening as long as you wait to hear your song. It doesn't matter what the skill set is, and that's kind of like
play Drunken Love at 1 a.m. That's it. That's all that matters.
That's it.
Just play it at 1 a.m.
Just play it at 1 a.m.
And then play it again at 1:10.
Yeah.
So.
Now,
Definitely.
in terms of the playlist selection, I would hope that, you know, I've seen people rely heavily on their iTunes playlist, where they pretty much want to just play top 40 because they think that's going to keep the crowd happy. But how is that preparation process for you?
I don't prepare. I don't prepare.
You don't prepare?
No, at all. No. I walk into a building and I say, oh, these are the people here to party? Okay, let's play some music. Let's see where they go. So I play whatever. Like the hardest thing about DJing is reading people. Like, I don't know what you guys want to listen to, but I'm going to play something and you're probably gonna dance. And I just kind of follow that mode all the way through. So I stopped preparing. Like, there's no point. Like, for me to do something at home, that's not gonna resonate in front of people. Like, I'm by myself in my room. Like, who's to say that's gonna work at a party with hundreds of people?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know that until I'm in front of those hundreds of people.
Right.
So, I'm not preparing.
I think the best way to go into a situation like that is to have your music organized already.
Yeah.
You gotta have the knowledge of music, but once it's organized and you can skip through it, if this doesn't work, you can go to this section. If that section doesn't work, you can go to this section. If reggae is not working, you can go to house. If house is not working, you can go to hip hop. If hip hop's not working, you know, you can go to slow jams. If slow jams not working, you go to reggaeton. Reggaeton's not working, you can go to dembow. Dembow's not working. You can just continuously be able to move around. You just can't come into the club with your shit unorganized and think that you're gonna pop up. You think it's gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. So then, even if it's a themed party, like, you know, even Wonderful, you know,
Even still.
much respect to DJ Spinner.
I'm pretty sure
There
DJ
might
Spinner
be-
has all of his Stevie Wonder records
With him.
aligned.
Okay.
They're still organized.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have to somehow organize the
You
catalog.
have to be organized. You have to be organized. Like, you can't just, like I said, organized doesn't mean you have one set playlist and it's all in one playlist. It's organized meaning, okay, I have Motown over here, I got Jackson 5 over here, and I got Stevie Wonder over here. So you got 3 folders to play with. You don't necessarily have to go out of that one folder necessarily.
Now, you mentioned Stevie Wonder, you mentioned Jackson 5, but most of the people that I can think of offhand don't want to hear that juggled or scratched at a party. That's
You
where
gotta
the
know how to
boundaries.
finesse it.
But can you?
You gotta
Is it,
know how to finesse
are
it.
there
You gotta know how to
unscratchable
finesse it.
records? Are there unscratchable, unequable songs?
I think everything could be
I
manipulated.
think that's how it all started. Like, it started from not letting the record play in its entirety.
Right, the breakbeat.
Right, but you have to use, like, there's certain parts of the record where you shouldn't cut because you want to hear the girls and you turn the music down. The girls like, well, they're singing with the song. Of course you're not going to scratch that part. You'll be a fool to do that. You know?
And you were saying about any song can be.
Yeah, any song can be.
There's nothing off
manipulated.
limits. Nothing is sacred.
I
Even
don't-
Bob Dylan, like anything, really.
Nah, I think it just comes down to creativity. Like, it's what's in your brain and what you can make of a song. Like, I can take a Bob Dylan song and throw it over a breakbeat and make it sound like something totally new. I could take.
And that's called a blend, right?
Yeah, that could be a
Blend.
blend. Yeah, so
Or the vocab
yeah,
lexicon. A blend is when you take.
yeah, you can take or mash up, as
Right,
a
or-
lot of people
yeah,
like to
mash
call
up.
it today. So yeah, I can take one realm of music and mix it with another realm of music and make it totally new. So I could take Jimi Hendrix and throw it over a Miley Cyrus beat and make Miley sound a little more credible.
Dare I ask you to demonstrate a kind of blend?
Can I come up with something?
This kind of freestyle DJ.
This is mashup time?
Is it?
Can we demonstrate?
Actually, you know what? But
Yo,
you got
something?
you want me to do an acapella and you do the beat?
now we talking.
Okay, so
Well,
should we
we'll
do?
see what they can-
Should we go at a certain BPM? You pick the BPM and we'll do it like that.
Alright, okay.
And this is totally organic. I know I'm gonna get yelled at for this later. You know, they're like, you gonna tell us you're gonna ask us to a mashup?
I'm gonna go around 90.
Around 90?
Go around 90.
Okay.
So is everyone able to kind of follow some of the DJ technique, logic? Okay, because
Yeah, it gets a little money.
it gets a little, yeah, it does. I just want to make sure we didn't lose anybody.
Oh, let me get a record that's clean, no cursing.
Please, it's for delicate ears. If you do, if not, we'll look. You need to confer with each other over what you're gonna do.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm
I don't know. That's the organic. You know when you're ready, bro. Good.
Yo, we should totally do a mixtape. Totally do it.
Yo, we can kind of do that.
Just make sure you shout me on.
You got it. You can host it. You can host the mixtape.
Yeah, right.
I'm Dr. Mitchell, and you're listening to the sound. The eloquent.
The musical pleasures of TJ Boogie Blind and TJ Esquire.